Hi, and welcome to another episode of Better Golfer Today. We have a great new show planned for y'all today. As always, I try and provide the best insights into the world of golf, whether it is tips, instruction, equipment, or anything else golf related. This week's main topic is going to be on getting better without making swing changes. As always, I'll be sharing what I'm working on, and this week's tip of the week is going to be on data collection. So, let's get started. Now, this week's main topic is getting better without making swing changes. I don't know about you, but I love shooting lower scores without having to put in tons of work on my swing. I mean, I already put in tons of work into my swing, but I'd love to put less work and still see improvement. As we all know, we don't have all the time in the world, and when we do, we are usually running out of it. So developing a plan for you to get better isn't always easy because you can't spend all day at the range or on the golf course. The simple way to improve would be to write down all your weaknesses, come up with a solution to those weaknesses, and then practice all day, every day, till those weaknesses were corrected. But that's not realistic, and that isn't happening for most people. What I try and do with Tyler Dice Golf is come up with a plan that is realistic, that will happen for you, because my goal is to help golfers get better. I want you to play better. I don't really care how it's done, just that it gets done. If you want a 12-step process for improving, I offer that too. But that's not necessarily my bag. I'm not here to teach a certain swing or spout out a certain dogma that you have to follow. My step-by-step system is there to complement what I offer, not be the end-all, be-all. So let's get back to the main topic. How can you improve without making any swing changes and not spending hours at the range? Really, it's easy. It's not that difficult. It's a pretty simple process. But it starts with correctly analyzing your game. And no, I'm not talking about fairways and greens and regulation. I'm talking about up and downs, proximity to the hole, and made putts from certain distances. Start keeping track of those three things the next few times you play. You will start to notice a pattern, and you will see what you do well and what needs work really quick. So these stats, these are up and downs, proximity to the hole, and made putts from a certain distance. So up and downs, not necessarily just general up and downs, but say, hey, up and downs with my lob wedge, up and downs with my sand wedge, up and downs with my pitching wedge or 9-iron or whatever. You can even go a step further. Did I hit a bump and run here? Did I hit a check and run? Did I hit a bounce and stop shot? Did I hit a flop shot? Keep track of the data. Also, look at how far away you are from the hole and how far you have to carry the ball on those chip shots. If you have 15 yards and you need to carry the ball 12, or if you have 15 yards and you need to carry the ball 2 yards, there's a difference in those two shots. Keep track of it. Make note of how many times you get up and down. Proximity to the hole. What does this mean? This means how far away your ball is from the cup on the green after you hit your approach shot. So are you 15 feet away, 20, 25, 30? All right, and then depending on how far away you are, you also you want to keep track of your total putts on the green and the putts that you make. You want to keep track of all the putts that you make and the distances they are. So if you're knocking in 3-footers, mark down, hey, 3-footer. Make it a 5-footer, mark down, hey, I made a 5-footer. You want to keep track of the putts that you make. That way you know where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. Because when you are breaking down your score, what really matters is your approach shots and your putts that you're making. Okay, those are big factors in determining how your score is going to go. Okay, now tee shots are very, very important. Very, very, very important because your tee shots make your approach shots easier or harder depending on how they are. But for right now, let's focus on proximity to the hole and where you're making your putts and all that stuff I said about up and downs. So, like I said, you will start keeping track of this stuff and you'll start to notice patterns pretty quickly. From there, improving is simple because as you start to pay attention to the correct things, you will notice where your misses go and how you can do a better job at minimizing those misses. So right there, that's talking about approach shots, okay? So as you're playing, you may come to realize like, hey, like on this hole, I always hit it over here. Or this hole, I always hit it over here. Or this hole, I'm trying to avoid this, and so I hit it over here, okay? And you may start noticing, hey, like, you know, I'm always hitting it over here. What if I tried hitting it over here? And maybe that approach shot to that green is just something that doesn't suit your eye well, okay? You know, you just, even when you hit the ball like the way you want to hit it, you still can't hold the green, right? So why not on that hole try playing it a little bit differently? I.e., so maybe you always play like a fade, right? And so even with your fade, the green slopes from left to right, and so your ball will land and roll to the right. What if and where it ends up, it's always like in a crummy spot that's stick rough. What if instead of trying to hit the green, you tried hitting the front, just in front of the green? See what I'm saying? You're not changing your swing. You're not changing your game. You're just approaching it a little bit differently. You're saying, hey, like, I can still make 3 from the front of the green. And I can make 3 more often from the front of the green than I can by trying to hit the green. You're always going to run into holes that do that to you. They're just not going to suit your eye. They're not going to be what you want them to be. They're not going to fit your game. And that's okay, because that's golf. And the beauty of golf is that it has so much variety to it. And so not everything's going to fit into the box you want it to fit in. But you can mold that box into something close to what you like. And that is also the beauty of golf. So instead of trying to hit the green, you're hitting to the front part of the green. You're hitting to the area short of the green. And maybe you can get to bounce onto the green and have an easy 2-putt. Or you're right in front of the green, it's the fairway, it's a simple chip shot, something like that. Or maybe going long is better. So you take an extra club to get over the green, because maybe the green slopes away from you. And so you're going long, chipping back up, chipping into the grain here. So things like that are things you should you'll start to notice and be able to start implementing. Okay, so the best part about this system is that you don't have to spend hours at the range working on technique to get the fix. The great things about improving in this game don't have anything to do. The great thing about improving in this game is you don't have to do anything drastic to make big strides. A setup change can be implemented in minutes. A club fitting takes 2 hours. Aiming a little bit more to the left or right is a very simple correction. Small corrections like this could have a massive improvement in your score. If you fade the ball and your miss is the big shot to the right, okay, and your normal fade is, say, 20 yards, that means you can easily play that if, number one, you get your fundamentals a little bit better, and fundamental changes are super, super simple and very easy to implement, okay? Standing a little bit taller, getting the stance a little bit narrower or a little bit more wide, okay? Making sure your ball position's correct, making sure your grip is correct. These simple changes don't require hours and hours and hours at the driving range. They're simple fixes, and they require like 20 or 30 golf balls to kind of implement. And then 10 or 15 golf balls every time you go to the range to make sure it sets in. It's nothing insane. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing super difficult. It's very simple. And like I said before, small corrections like this could have a massive improvement in your score. So if you can get your setup consistent to where that fade is consistently going a certain distance, you can set up yourself to aim a little bit more left and work that fade in correctly. You're not changing your golf swing. You're not making your golf swing better. But what you're doing is that you're making it more repeatable. And that's not that hard to do. Now, also, remember when I said up and downs a little bit ago? Improving your short game is one of the easiest areas to get better, and it doesn't take a lot of time to do it. Sure, you need to have the right technique and all, but you can get away with just having 2 or 3 different shots in your bag. Heck, I've seen guys do really, really good with just 1 shot in their pocket. Literally, they had 1 shot, and that's the only shot they would ever use around the greens. It didn't work in every situation, but it worked well enough to where most of the time they were able to get a good swipe at the ball. Okay? Developing that 1 or 2 or 3 shots is not very difficult, especially with the variety of clubs that we have today. When you have all the different wedge grinds and golf ball types. You can really fine tune it, and you can fine tune it really, really easily and really, really quickly. So 20 minutes of practice here, 20 minutes of practice there, and before you know it, you've got yourself a pretty handy short game. It's not crazy, it's not insane, and again, you didn't do any swing overhauls to achieve it. Not that difficult. Now, like I stated, if you want to make some improvements in your game, you don't need to spend all day at the range. You need to know the right things to work on, because working on the wrong things will keep you where you're at and in the same place as everyone else. I can't tell you how often I see people hitting golf balls at the range, slaving away, trying to work on their game, and they get very little improvement. And if you ask them about it, they'll think they're getting better because they've hit some better, quote unquote, they've hit some better shots at the range. But in reality, the scores stay the same. Don't be that guy. Be the person that is competent and knows what their game is. Be the person that understands their game completely. And be the person that knows, hey, I don't have to do it all to do it really good. You want to be able to know what you're doing and be able to implement what you're doing and know that you have confidence in it. That's what really matters. And so there's no reason you can't, break through the next level. So you're trying to break 80s. No reason you can't do that with just some simple upgrades to your game. Again, nothing's getting overhauled. You're not changing your swing path or your attack angle or anything like that. You're just keeping it simple and making some slight changes and making things a little bit more consistent. Nothing crazy. Now, every golfer is going to be a little bit different. Okay? Beauty about golf is that no one's the same. Everyone's an individual. And so not everything is going to apply to everyone else. You may already have a really good short game. You may need help off the tee. You may already have a really good tee, long game. You need help on the greens and around them. Okay? Those are easy things to figure out. Okay? And getting you a little bit more consistent isn't that hard to do. So that's all I got for you for the main topic. Let's move on to what I'm currently working on. So right now, I'm working on, what did I just talk about? I talked about fundamentals, right? So I'm working on my fundamentals. It's the wintertime, it's cold, and so I'm working on my fundamentals and understanding all the data that I've been collecting about my game the last 6 months. So I started working with my own launch monitor, and the data collection is really cool. And I can't wait to share more of my experience with you. Moving on later, the next couple of months, we're going to have some big changes with Tyler Dice Golf. And so I'm going to have some really, really cool stuff to share with you all. I'm going to be able to do a lot more videos and a lot more customized stuff to not only that I'll be able to do a lot more stuff that reinforces a lot of the things I've been saying. I can prove a lot of the stuff that I've been saying. And so I can't wait to show you and have you be a part of the cool stuff that's going to be coming down the pipe. So please just stay tuned. It's right down the road. It'll be here before you know it. So I got some really, really cool stuff coming down. So again, like I've been working on the fundamentals and processing all the data I've been collecting. So I have a new launch monitor, and that's really, really cool, and it's spitting out some cool data. And so I'm learning a lot about my game, and I'm learning a lot about the numbers side of golf. Not jumping too far into the numbers thing, mind you, but enough to know what is and what isn't. If that makes sense. So this week's tip of the week, again, like I said earlier, is on data collection. I see very few people collect the right data about their golf games. The best thing I've done in a while is use the My Round Pro app by TaylorMade. It used to be desktop and mobile. Right now it's just mobile again. The desktop app was amazing. I loved it. I used it all the time. But they turned it off. I don't know why. I guess probably because it didn't get a lot of clicks. But anyways, the app is awesome too. It collects all kinds of data like putts per round, putts per distance, proximity to the hole, fairways hit, greens and regulation, strokes gained putting, strokes gained approach shots, strokes gained tee shots, up and downs, where I miss fairways and greens, the percentage of misses and hits, and how good I am from certain areas. This was just the beginning of my data collecting, and I am taking it a step further by adding, like I said, a launch monitor to my practice regime. I have a flight scope, and I now have a Mevo. They're both made by FlightScope, and they're both really, really unique and cool in their own ways. So I will have a lot more data to share with you moving forward. So stay tuned, some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. Like I said, it's coming really, really soon. So just bear with me. And that's all I got for you this week. So I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. I enjoyed putting it together. So stay tuned for more episodes and keep your ears peeled, because we're going to have some pretty awesome announcements in the near future. So that's all I got. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.